We're back, everyone, and here we're going to discuss the second part of Night of the Monster Men in Nightwing. Nightwing number 5, Night of the Monster Men Part 2. In Nightwing number 5, one monster down, 2 more to go, and 1 monster unaccounted for. This issue is more focused, because it's a Nightwing issue, more focused on Nightwing and what he is doing within the team to take down the monsters and keep the citizens of Gotham safe.
Yeah, it's interesting too because it's kind of implied that he's taking the place of Tim Drake as Red Robin.
Yes.
He's filling that void after Tim's death/abduction in the previous Detective Comics. And it's funny because Batman is fairly tight. It keeps him on a fairly tight leash.
Yes.
He tells him, "Hey, go do this. Go to the morgue. Go figure out where these bodies have been." He's not really letting him back in on the action.
No.
Too.
No, he is not. But Nightwing, since he's Nightwing, he decides to get into the action.
Yeah.
He rescues a citizen who didn't want to evacuate because he's been there all his life in this apartment area.
What happens with basically every evacuation in real life.
Yes, indeed.
We've all seen that on the news.
A little bit before we get more into Nightwing, Alfred and Duke and Claire, Gotham Girl, are still in the Batcave. They want to get, Duke wants to get into the action, and Gotham Girl can still hear with her superpowers, hearing all the screaming, the cries for help. She wants to get in, and Alfred is and Batman's telling him, no, first you can't, I need you here, you're helping study with the DNA, you're helping on the computer, and Claire, you're not ready.
Yeah, he even tells Duke to read the syllabus because monsters are next month.
Yes. They find, while they're looking at it, the DNA was, of course, it was human at first, and it was some type of compound that was inserted in by Hugo Strange.
Yep, basically like a programmable, mutating serum.
Yes. And also they were talking about, Dick Grayson was also talking about, there was something about Wayne Towers had some type of defense built into them, and Batman said, we're not going to use that, but I'm going to use what Duke had already made. And you had called, what is it, the Bat Beacon?
Yeah, the Bat Beacons. Yeah, which come out of seemingly every street light in Gotham.
Right.
And have, a message from a holographic Batman telling the citizens to be strong and go find shelter and stuff. That means between that and this apparent weapon in Wayne Tower and the moon base that we've seen in Action Comics, Batman's been a busy dude.
He has been.
He's been really busy.
But one of the things when they did that, when he broadcast all over Gotham, I thought part of the mythology of Batman was he kept himself to the shadows, and everyone kind of knew him, but it wasn't there. But all of a sudden he's showing himself of, this is Batman, get to safety, follow to the cave, and we'll see, if you trust in me, we'll see tomorrow together. That was a different take for me, to see Batman being so not confined to the shadows.
Yeah. For me, it almost would have made more sense if he had built that and then had maybe like Commissioner Gordon broadcast that. I mean, someone like an actual public figure, not someone who's supposed to hide in shadow and not be seen.
Correct.
Like Batman. So it kind of, I don't want to say it jumped the shark in my sense, but looking at that, it's like, oh, okay. I mean, it's a very different Batman and he's probably the guy in Gotham who has the most respect and some of the most authority.
Nightwing went to the morgue and he saw that there was 4 corpses that was gone, and 1 had burrowed out.
Yep.
And he was going to the next tech bunker, which I thought was kind of unique, that they went to another tech bunker earlier for Nightwing cycles, Batman and Batwoman, and you have Nightwing going out trying to get to Blackgate. And he's looking for the nearest tech to go there. While he's doing that, Spoiler and Orphan and kind of Clayface are bringing everyone to the cave. But as you see in the cave, they're kind of getting covered with some type of some type of substance, and it's starting to react where they're playing a lot of aggression.
Yeah.
A lot of aggression.
Yeah. Orphan's watching over that in the cave, and she
Yeah.
has remarks, "This is chaos."
Yes.
And these people are not acting normal, and especially that last
Right.
panel we see of them, where they're all just staring at the camera. I mean, it looks like they're gonna go pretty nuts. So I mean, it looks like the monster men themselves are not the only threat here.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe something Hugo Strange did with the rain, where he kind of poisoned it to bring out some of the emotions of anxiety, stress, and anger. When it put it past him, because he's known for the hallucinogenic, the narcotics.
Yep.
I wouldn't put it past him.
Yep. It was also kind of a cool explanation too that the monster men are the 4 people who committed suicide after they said the monster men are coming, that we had seen
Yes.
in Detective Comics and Batman, and that was pretty cool because I'd been questioning, okay, what is this? What's going on? How is this still happening? You know, because the first one we meet is the guy who kills himself in Gordon's office. What did he say? Bob Garcia or
Something
like that. Yeah, and it just sort of comes together, and then the one who goes to Blackgate is the one who shot down the plane, the Cobra operative who had been with Hugo Strange before he joined Cobra. So it brought that full circle for me. So I was like, okay, that makes sense now.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Batwoman kind of calls Bruce out by telling him that he's not a very good team leader.
Yeah.
Because he's so controlling and he's telling everyone what to do. There's no room for trust amongst the teammates. And you see Nightwing is going to do whatever he feels is necessary, but Batman is just really overseeing, really micromanaging the whole team.
Yeah.
Is that a good trait for Batman? It's worked so long, but now, especially after Tim Drake dead, he's going to do that more than ever.
Yeah. It was kind of implied, I think, by Batwoman, or maybe it was by Nightwing, that was some of that was due in part to Tim's death.
Yes.
That he's kind of trying to batten down the hatches just a little bit, you know, make sure that this team doesn't go too out of control, because Tim did, you know, meet his end.
Right.
Hand to wink. That, I mean, he was doing something Batman did not tell him to do.
Yes.
So, I mean, it's hard when you have that sort of crisis to really play things that closely to your chest. I think it would make more sense to have Duke out on the streets, especially if he's capable of doing some of that stuff. I mean, he's not done with his training yet, but he could be of some use. And with Claire, it's understandable that he would keep her inside because her powers will kill her.
Yep.
But, I mean, she's also using her powers while she's inside to hear them.
Yes.
So, you know, he can't just put earplugs in her ears and say, here.
Well, maybe he will next time.
Maybe.
And the issue ends with, as Nightwing was going to Blackgate, that Claire kept on hearing, and she had enough. She flies to Blackgate to deal with this monster that's at Blackgate.
Past Dick, too. I mean,
because
Dick's still... Yep.
What was it? One of the people that this monster that's going to Blackgate, when Hugo Strange was at Blackgate, he treated him. So everything's strategic with these 4 people. Everything is strategic why Hugo Strange did this. And that's where we're going to leave off with that Monster Men, because we'll have part 3, part 4, and then part 5. This is a fill-in storyline between Detective and Batman. And it's interesting with Halloween right around the corner for this month. So we kind of get some little horror in Gotham.
Yep.
Which is some people saying, well, this is not truly a Batman story, but it's different.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
It's a cool take, too, on the Monster Men, which are actually what Hugo Strange originally used in his first appearance in a Batman comic.
Okay.
Was he had the Monster Men. And Hugo Strange is actually the earliest recurring Batman villain.
All right.
I mean, he predates all the others. So it has some history to it, and it has kind of a cool twist on that.
All right.
Too.
Yeah, that's good to see. But I definitely know that Hugo Strange has not played his end game yet in this series and the story arc. And with that, we are wrapping up our episode of Comic Book Cove. Any thoughts on overall of what we've kind of read? A little bit of everything this week. A little bit of the odd.
Yeah. The not necessarily the good and the bad, but the good and the hard to wrap our head around.
Exactly.
I mean, it's still a lot of new directions for all these series to go in, too. I mean, we have Raven just starting out, and Harley can go wherever she wants. And same with Green Arrow, too. And Night of the Monstermen will continue as well.
Definitely. With that, if you have any questions or comments about any comic books we've talked about or want to add anything to our discussion, drop us a line at Comic Book Cove's site, which is Delve Into the Void on Facebook and YouTube. For this episode on Wednesday, I'm Tom Morris.
And I'm Josh Holderbaum.
And we'll be back on Friday with another episode of Delve Into the Void. See you next time.